What are the pointers we were discussing yesterday? The major point which we discussed yesterday first was about basicity and nucleophilicity. Okay, this you can write at the end of the class. These are just the synopsis or brief summary of what we studied yesterday. So we discussed what is basic strength and what is nucleophilicity, or what we call it as the basicity and nucleophilicity. See the differences. Bases will always share electrons with protons, while nucleophiles will share its electron pair with carbon, carbon or any other atom, but that should be other than hydrogen. While basicity is about ability to share electrons with H plus, nucleophilicity is ability to share electron with carbon or any other atom than H plus. Basicity is independent of nature of solvent and its orientation. So it does not depend upon what kind of a solvent or what type of orientation it has. While nucleophilicity depends upon nature of the solvent and the type of orientation it will make for attacking the respective center. Next, basicity is measured in equilibrium constants, right? So like we have Ka and Kb values, and equilibrium constant value only depends upon temperature. So if the temperature changes, then only the basicity factor will change, but otherwise equilibrium constant is a constant that remains irrespective of the solvent. Next, nucleophilicity is measured in terms of rate constant. Okay, so it is a kinetically favored or kinetic term, while basicity is more of a thermodynamic term. And basicity is an equilibrium phenomena, while this is a kinetic phenomena. So these are the differences which we learned yesterday. This was the first thing which we learned. Second, few points to remember, especially for exam point of view, when you were asked about nucleophilicity or comparing the nucleophiles, what are the pointers you must remember? See this. Usually the negative charged nucleophiles will always be stronger compared to the neutral nucleophiles. For instance, if I have to compare the same donor atom, which is oxygen here, and I compare water with OH minus because it has charge, usually that would always be more nucleophilic. Similarly, NH2 would be more nucleophilic than NH3. Second point, if the donor being same, check out the high charge density, which means localized or delocalized. If you check out CH3O minus and HO minus, this you just have to remember this is an experimental value. Okay. This does not have too much of justification on it. Remember, usually alkoxides will have more charge density on them to provide the electrons as compared to HO minus. So CH3O minus is better than HO minus. These two are localized. Then phenoxide is delocalized. ACO minus is even more delocalized with equivalent resonance. Now, if I might add, I can say RSO3 minus is even much more delocalized, so that would be even least nucleophilic. Next, if you check out along the period, if you go along the period, nucleophilicity will decrease. CH3 minus will have more nucleophilicity compared to that of F minus, and it will go in parallel with its basicity. Left to right, always nucleophilicity goes parallel with the basicity. Next, down the group, if you check out, we have two issues here. One, how does that behave in polar protic solvent? How does it behave in aprotic solvent or non-polar solvent? In polar protic solvent, nucleophilicity order would increase down the group. So you can see I minus is more than Br minus and so on. And similarly, this was from group 17. This is from group 16. HSE minus, HS minus, OH minus. This is how the nucleophilicity order would be. This is in polar protic solvents. In when it comes to basicity, basicity only depends upon the size of the ion, how much it can solvate. So if you see I minus, Br minus, Cl minus, and F minus will have very high solvation. So you can see basicity parallel always goes in parallel with solvation. So therefore, this is how the order would be. Okay. Now, In case of aprotic solvents, right, basicity will parallel with the nucleophilicity. Got it? So nucleophilic order here F minus will be greater than Cl minus, Br minus and I minus. Similarly in group 16, if you check out, OH minus is better than HS minus than HSC minus. Basicity does not change, right? Even though it is a polar or non-polar or aprotic solvents. See, always remember that basicity is always defined with respect to aqueous solutions. So, at a particular temperature. So, it does not change irrespective of its solvent nature. Next, another point you can emphasize here about nucleophilicity is about bulkiness. If the bulkiness increases, nucleophilicity will decrease. So you can see primary carbon compared to secondary alkoxide or tertiary alkoxide, the primary would have more nucleophilicity. Okay. This is a new point. I forgot to write that yesterday. Check out this one. Where there is a hetero atom of alpha position to donor atom. Okay, by the end of the class, please make sure you note this point. Okay, where there is an hetero atom at alpha position to the donor atom, it increases its nucleophilicity. Basically, at alpha position, suppose this with respect to NH2, this is the alpha position. If there is only lone pair present on the alpha position, that lone pair will push and disperse this lone pair density, because of which its nucleophilicity will increase. Okay, there is much more molecular reasoning to it, but as of now, what you need to remember as a case, like if there is any lone pair containing group just at the alpha position, always that increases its nucleophilicity compared to the similar atom like NH3. Here also it is a nitrogen donor, here also it is a nitrogen donor, but nucleophilicity here will be more. Same way here also it is an O minus donor, here also it is an O minus donor, but at the alpha position there is a lone pair present on it, hence its nucleophilicity would be more. Okay, so these are the important pointers regarding nucleophilicity. I suppose all of you got an idea about basicity, nucleophilicity and their orders. Now, another important point which we studied about SN2, okay. See, I will at the end of the SN2, I will give you a complete summary of SN2, but I'm only discussing those pointers which we were emphasizing yesterday. See, we learned that there are certain cases where SN2 does not take place at all, and one of them is aryl halides. Okay, reasoning is because there is a partial double bond character, right, and resonance as well as the back attack is not possible. Similarly, we checked vinyl chlorides, tertiary halides, 4-degree beta carbon. So at the beta position, if it is a 4-degree carbon, then even though it is at primary position, this do not go for SN2 reactions. We checked for bridgeheads. For bridgeheads also SN2 is not favorable. If we have a cyclic rings with conjugation, then the attack of nucleophile can be inhibited. Hence, in this case also, you will not see backside attack happening. And lastly, we learned about poor leaving group. In case if there are any poor leaving group also, you won't see SN2 reactions happening. Okay, this was one important point which we studied yesterday. Okay, this is a very typical JEE question, so you guys can remember the cases, especially like which case SN2 doesn't favor. Next, we learned about Walden's inversion. In Walden's inversion, what we learned that if you have a defined configuration at a chiral center, like here it is R configured, and when the nucleophile attacks, its configuration is tend to change, and this is called Walden's inversion. Okay, so you could see we checked out one very important example. There, suppose if same iodine is replacing another iodine, just an isotopic difference. This is iodine 135, this is 137. Then also here there would be an inversion, but this the configuration for this, if suppose this is R configured and this is S configured, then the optical activity of R would be the optical activity of this compound would be just the reverse of this compound, and both of them being 50-50 percentage, the racemization will take place here. So in the solution, eventually you would have 50% of this and 50% of this. So this is what happens in case if an isotopic nucleophile is replaced with its isotopic leaving group. Okay, so this was another important point we studied. Like last thing what we studied, if there is any chance, because SN2 is kinetically driven reaction, if there is any chance by which you can decrease the transition state, right, or rather sorry, the energy of the transition state, so it will take that path with the lowest energy of the transition state. Okay, so in certain cases, suppose at the alpha position with respect to carbon, at this alpha position, if there is any lone pair carrying group, then that will support the transition state and increase its stability. So the transition state stability will always increase. Now it not necessarily always have to be a lone pair. It could be a pi bond also. Either a pi bond or a lone pair support will always increase the stability of transition state. This is what we learned. And based on that, I gave you a complete order, an experimental data of reactions here, where if I minus attacks this R and chlorine leaves as a leaving group, then the relative rate with respect to these substrates, you can check out this is a primary carbon. Its rate, if it is 1, with respect to this, if we consider CH3, because it has less steric crowding, it tends to go for SN2 at a faster rate, and you can see the rate is around 200 times of this. Next, if it is a secondary position, rate drastically decreases because of more steric factor. If it is at allylic position, the pi bond would help to stabilize the transition state. Hence, you can see the rate has increased. If it is a allylic with 3 degree, right, then it do not go for SN2, it will go for SN1 reactions. And what those SN1 reactions are, we'll see in a while. Next, in case if you have a benzyl group, similar thing as allyl, here also this benzyl pi cloud will help the transition state to get stabilized and its rate has increased drastically. Observe one thing carefully, that CH3Cl, methyl chloride and benzyl chloride almost have the same rate. Next, if there is any lone pair carrying group at the alpha position, right, then also it will increase the stability of transition state, and you can see the rate has drastically increased. The last one very special case is that when you have a strong withdrawing groups with double bond at the beta carbon, okay, if this beta carbon itself is a strong withdrawing group by with a double bond here, then the rate has drastically increased. Okay, so the main reason, so there are two reasons. One, there is a strong withdrawing nature because of inductive effect, minus effect, due to which delta positive will increase on this carbon. But the other main reason for such a high value is that it has been observed that in the molecular orbital of carbon, if you check, it has a pi star orbital which is almost coming close towards that of sigma star orbital of CH2. Now, when the nucleophile approaches here, both this pi star and sigma star will intermix to give a even lower energy molecular orbital. Okay, and it is always been seen that the best bond is always formed when you have high energy of HOMO and low energy of LUMO orbital. So you can see this is a low energy LUMO orbital. So nucleophile attack would be at a much faster rate. So therefore the reaction will take at a very fast rate and the penetration of nucleophile happens very easily. I guess all of you understood it till this part, right? Now today we'll go ahead and understand this important pointers which we were discussing yesterday, that what is the factors which affect SN2 rate. First is structure of substrate, nature of leaving group, solvent, nucleophile, transition state we have already discussed just now. See this. So if it is a nature of substrate, what I can say that Alpha branching will decrease SN2 rate due to increase in steric hindrance. Okay. So alpha branching will decrease SN2 rate to increase in steric hindrance. What does that mean? If you check out the rate of SN2, okay, you would see CH3X greater than CH3 CH2X. Okay, students, you could start writing along with me. Okay, I'll go slow from here down. So CH3X CH3 CH3 CH3X. So you could see as from primary carbon, okay, you can see from primary carbon, as this methyl group starts increasing, it has become secondary, now it has become tertiary. So as this group increases, the relative rate decreases. Okay, so in short, I can write as bulkier groups increase, backside attack of nucleophile decreases. So I hope all of you have written that. So I can say SN2 reaction is inversely proportional to steric crowding, steric hindrance. I guess you understood what happens with the nature of substrate. So one factor what we studied with the nature of substrate is that if the crowding increases. Second aspect, okay. So I suppose all of you have written that. Now, second aspect is that if minus R group at alpha position is present, it increases SN2 rate. Okay. In short, groups like NO2, C double bond O we just saw, right? Similarly, if you have C triple bond N, similarly we can say any keto form C double bond O, right? This is, I'll take this as aldehyde, this is keto form, C double bond C. All of this increases delta positive charge. All of this will increase delta positive charge on carbon bearing leaving group. So I hope you guys understood that point. So in case if there is a minus R group present at the alpha position, which is the same case here, you can see this is the same case. This is at alpha position, you can see C double bond O group is present. So that would increase the reaction rate drastically. So this is what you'll observe. For example, if I take this chlorine with respect to this double bond Cl, then the rate of this would be very high. Okay, and this is about rate of SN2 only. Next, in case if you have NO2 CH2 Cl, that would be better than N triple bond C CH2 Cl, which is better than this Cl group. So again, this is rate of SN2. In short, this has, you know, NO2 has strong minus I as compared to that of Cn, and the other group there is no minus I effect, rather there is only plus I effect. So I guess you understood the second pointer also. In case if you have minus R group, always there is a drastic increase in their rate. I request all of you to note that. Check this. Next, in case if we have a minus R and plus R group, okay, minus I with plus R group, which means groups like OH or OR, groups at alpha position, also increases SN2 rate. So groups like OR, NH2, NR2, right, will increase the stability, oh sorry, not NR2, NHR, because NR2, if it comes again, steric crowding will also increase, so that will compete, so we can't judge that. So NH2, NHR, OR, the stability of transition state increases. They increase the stability of transition state by lone pair electron support. That is also something which we have seen in the graph here. You can check it out. So in case if there is any lone pair, you know, it will support the transition state here, thereby increases the stability. So I request all of you to note that. Next, if you see now the overall order, like, you know, whatever we have studied in this, if you see the overall order, what we can say, Y, which is connected to CH2X, where this Y could be a C double bond O group, or it could be NO2, right? These kind of a strong withdrawing group will increase the stability, will increase the rate drastically as compared to ZCH2X, where the Z could be lone pair groups like OR, NH2, which is better than PH, CH2X, which is almost same as that of CH3X, which is greater than RCH2X, greater than R2CHX, greater than R3CX. Okay, and this X here could be, chlorine, bromine, or iodine. This is the generic order. Okay, very important. Okay, I would request all of you to note this and make sure you revise this properly. There's an important order of SN2. In case if you were asked, like, even after this, what will be the order? R CHCCl is better than CH2 double bond CHCl. At least here you would see some amount of reaction happening, but at a very, very slow rate. But bridged carbon would usually do not have any SN2 at all, completely inert. So this would be the order down. The first factor is clear, everyone. What is the nature of substrate? So this is the first factor for SN2, which increases the rate of SN2. Okay. So I guess all of you understood that. So I'm going ahead. Yeah. Check the next one. Next one is about nature of leaving group. That we know that weak conjugate basis is always a better leaving group, is always a good leaving group. And rate of SN2 also depends upon breaking of CX bond. So which means if the bond is weak here, then also rate of SN2 will increase. So these two factors are important here. One, we generally know that conjugate basis is always a good leaving group. Second, how strong that bond is. Weaker the bond, more easily it can leave. So you can check this. If a nucleophile approaches here, and this group has to leave. Okay, you see this X minus group has to leave here, right? Then what would be the rate of SN2 if it is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, or iodine? In that case, I can say that RF rate of SN2, RF would be less than RCl, RBr, and Ri. Both reasons are justified here. One thing, R and I bond is weaker. At the same time, I minus is also a much better leaving group because it is a very weak conjugate base. Okay. So please start noting that. Yeah. What I can say, weaker the CX bond, more will be the rate of reaction. Now this phenomena is called of increasing rate is called elemental effect. Okay. So if the question is asked whether SN2 shows elemental effect, the answer is yes. Right. All of you understood that nature of living group. Now, then this is about halides. Then there are many other living groups also. Okay. So I hope all of you have noted down till this point. Yeah. Then there are other living groups also, right, which are very good. In fact, we consider them as the super living groups. I have already told you about what are those living groups. I have put them again just so that you can keep revising those names. OTS, this is called tosylate, where methyl is present. If bromine is present at the para position, you call it as brosylate. If NO2 is present, nosylate. If it is directly connected to only CF3, this is triflate. OTF, OTS, ONS, OBr, OTS. These are very good living groups. In fact, CF3CO minus is also good living group, but not as good as this. Suppose if at all I have to identify the best of the living groups, then I will just give you the order of it, 4 and 5. Well, all of them are best living groups, but in case if the order is being asked out of all this, you know that third one is the best, sorry, fourth one is the best out of all this, fourth, then third, then second, then first, then fifth. Okay, this is the order of living group nature. These are all very good living groups. Then the yesterday we also discussed about what are the bad living groups: F minus, OH minus, ETO minus, RO minus, NH2 minus. These are very bad living groups. They do not leave the carbon center easily. Now, here, since we are on this topic, we will understand one very important mechanism here. So focus here now. First of all, note this point. What are the good living groups? What is the order of that? Right. So let us check this. If you check RCH2OH, an alcohol, and I'm trying to react with NaI, I'm expecting RCH2I and NaOH to form, which means what I'm expecting that I minus will attack this CH2O, RCH2, then OH minus will come out of it. OH minus will come out as a leaving group. But this reaction doesn't happen because OH minus is a very bad leaving group. But alcohols is a very important source for substitution reactions. So how do we improvise those reactions here? But if the same reaction, let me write the same reaction again here, that RCH2OH in the presence of, on reaction with the reagent NaI, but in the presence of acid H3PO4. You can take H2SO4, right? You can take H3PO4. If you take any acidic medium, then reaction is definitely happening and reaction is going towards this. This is the product which you are getting. Okay, so definitely we will get this product. So what is happening in acidic medium? So let us see the mechanism here. So basically R CH2OH, when it is treated with H plus, okay, would become R CH2OH2 plus, and then I minus will attack on CH2, removing out this H2O, because H2O is a better leaving group. Okay, remember, neutral species will always leave easily, and thereby we will get R CH2I plus H2O. So that's how the reaction proceeds. Got it? So this is called biprotonation. One second, guys. Yeah. So that's how the reaction proceeds, and we'll get RCH2Cl. Hope all of you understood that. There is another way by which we can make this OH minus to leave. This is an important reaction. Let me call this as first reaction, second reaction. This reaction name is tosylation. What happens in tosylation? If we take ROH and react that with TSCl, that is tosyl chloride. You can see if you have this tosylate, this is tosylate, and at the end if you add chlorine to this, that will become tosyl chloride. So if we react that with tosyl chloride, I will get this as ROTS, and this, when you treat that with NaI, will give us Ri plus TSO minus Na plus. This is the overall reaction. ROH will become ROTS, and you know that OTS is a very good leaving group. Now let us see the mechanism, what is happening here. ROH, when you treat that with tosylate, see, tosylate would be like this. You have S double bond O and Cl. So the lone pair would attack on the sigma star empty sigma star orbital of sulfur, thereby leaving chlorine from here. And we would get this as ROH with S double bond O and this group, and Cl minus has come out, right? And the Cl minus which has come out will accept this H plus, will get ROS double bond O, and this. Now check this carefully. What is this one? This is nothing but OTS. This is that OTS group. So we will get this as ROTS. Okay. And ROTS, now if you treat that with I minus, because OTS is a very strong and powerful leaving group, it can easily leave and become RI, and that TSO minus which has left will be present with that Na plus NaI which has been used. I hope all of you understood that. Please make a note of this. It's a very important mechanism. Tosylation is one of the important process for removing alcohols. We do few problems based on tosylate today. As of now, just remember the mechanism. Are you done, everyone? Right. Let us see the next point here. The next next factor which increases the rate of SN2 is the nature of solvent. This we have already learned, so I'll just brief it around. So you can see in polar protic solvent, right, both cations and anions get solvated. Like if you take polar protic solvents like water, methanol, acids, these are all polar protic solvents. In this, both H plus, if you take out, metal will also get solvated. Nucleophile will also get solvated. Okay, they all will get solvated like this. So metal as well as nucleophile both will get solvated. Hence, its nucleophilicity will decrease. So that's what happens. You can see nucleophilicity would decrease, or it depends on inversely proportional to solution. So the nucleophilic order would be I minus better than Br minus, Cl minus, and F. This is where we started with the lecture today. Nucleophilic order in polar protic solvent. But in case of aprotic solvents, we know that cations will get solvated, but anions are easily moving. So you can see anions move freely. So therefore, the order now would be F minus better than Cl minus, Br minus, I minus. Okay. So you can see which is more favorable here, because SN2 demands for a strong nucleophile. Polar aprotic solvents are more useful for it. Okay. Now this is a very important part. This is something which you know already, so I'm just skipping it around. Even if you don't write, that is okay. You know that. You can just mention that nucleophilicity increases. Nucleophilicity would decrease in polar aprotic solvent. It will increase in polar aprotic solvents. Okay. Check this point. This is very important. How does SN2 get affected due to polarity? Okay. Suppose it's very logical. Focus with me. If this is nucleophile is charged, and if it attacks this and removes Y, okay, then what would happen to the rate of SN2? Now imagine if the polarity is increased. This is all about increasing polarity. If polarity is more, X minus nucleophilic nature would be less, and because X minus nucleophilic nature would be less, attack will be slow. So what happens to the rate? Rate will decrease. So there is a small decrease in rate. Small decrease in rate. Why I am saying small? Because the solvation is only happening with X minus. The solvation is not happening for Ry, correct? This substrate which is present, that is not solvated. Only X minus is solvated. Okay. So this is case number 1. Second case, right? If the nucleophile is neutral, like water, ammonia, these are the nucleophiles we are talking about. So if the neutral nucleophiles are attacking, and then Z minus is leaving, and in this case Z minus is leaving, then what would happen? See, if the polarity is increased, got it? It was not because it is neutral, it is not polarized even if the polarity is high. RZ is not polarized even though the polarity is high. Okay, but in the transition state, because I need to remove this as Z minus, and this attack would make it this nucleophile to get delta positive, and this leaving group to get delta negative. Polar, if you take, high polar solvent, this in fact will help the reaction to happen, because the transition state would be very stable. Because in the transition state we are seeing delta minus and delta plus, and that will be solvated by the solvent molecules. Correct. So what you will observe, there is a large increase in SN2 rate, the second case. So there is a large increase in the SN2 rate. Next, in the third case, if X minus is the group and the leaving group is something like this. For example, it is like I minus is attacking CH3OH2 plus. This is the kind of example I'm taking, where this is a nucleophile and this is a substrate. Okay. Now, can you see both of them are charged? Nucleophile is also charged, substrate is also charged, which means this is also highly solvated. This is also highly solvated. Would they reach, would they make any kind of impact or interaction? Very less. The interaction itself will not happen at all. So we can say there is a large decrease in the rate of SN2. So if both are charged, then there will be large decrease in the SN2 rate. Last case, we have neutral nucleophile, and that is approaching a positive charge nucleophile. Sorry, positive charge substrate. Then the nucleophile will attack here, and the Z minus Z plus will come out of it. Correct. Now here again, this is completely solvated. This is not solvated. It is similar to that of the first case. Only one of them is solvated. If one of them is solvated also, this can't easily approach because most of the solvent particles will be present around it. Hence, I can say definitely there is a small decrease. Sorry, only small decrease. So from here, what I can conclude? See, in most of the cases, SN2 rate will be decreasing as the polarity increases. But the only case where you will see that there is a large increase is in this case. Okay. I will write the example here for second. I could not provide enough space here, so I'll just write the example here for second one. For second one, best example is the attack of ammonia on RX. Okay, both of them are neutral. So when ammonia attacks, X minus leaves. This is an SN2 reaction, much favored in solvent like ammonia. That means ammonia itself is acting like a solvent here. So this is solvolysis. If the solvent itself will act like a nucleophile, we call it as a solvolysis reaction. So solvolysis happens very well with SN2 reaction. So that is why I have written ammonia in strong, strong nucleophile list, because when ammonia attacks, it always attack as a solvolysis reaction. And SN2 solvolysis reaction happens at a much faster rate. You can check this out now. I guess all of you understood that. Please make a note of it. Effect of polarity. This entire table you must remember logically, okay? Done? Right. Next, we can see nature of nucleophiles. The fourth factor which increases SN2 is nature of nucleophile. Obviously, strong nucleophiles will always favor SN2. So I gave you this order to remember. And this order is in polar protic solvent. Okay, if solvent is not provided in the question, always take it as polar protic solvent. The default solvent is always polar protic. So this order is in polar protic solvent. Okay. So pH S minus. So sulfur always act as a much better nucleophilic, sulfur part will always like a much better nucleophilic site. So pH S minus, then Cn minus, I minus. This is purely experimental. So you just have to remember the values, remember the order here. So pH minus, Cn minus, I minus, methoxides, OH minus, N3 minus. N3 minus is azide. Br minus, PHO minus, ammonia, CH3CO minus, Cl minus, you know, tertiary third degree amine, F minus H2O. So this is how the nucleophilicity changes. Okay. So you can see these last three, these are very weak nucleophiles. Okay. Other than rest of them are strong nucleophiles. Please make a note of it. Nature of nucleophiles. Everybody's done. Okay. Right. Let us see the next topic here. While making reactions, as we go towards the chemical reactions, first thing we need to understand in which case should we favor SN2, in which case should we favor E2 for major products. Okay. So I've given you a list, just if you could remember the list, that is sufficient enough. Okay, and we can easily solve the problems. Check out which case we get SN2 and which case we get E2 as a major product. Check. Suppose if we have strong nucleophile which is also acting like a strong base, which means nucleophilicity is in parallel with the basicity. If the nucleophilicity and basicity is almost, I mean the both of them are going in a same trend, then E2O minus, OH minus, NH2 minus, these are the cases which are strong nucleophiles as well as strong bases also. All alkoxides, OH minus, and amides, NH2 minus. These are all strong nucleophiles as well as strong bases. Okay. So therefore, for them, the case will be decided on temperature as well as stability of their transition state. So what exactly is the substrate you are taking? How stable is the transition state? And what temperature you are operating? That decides whether it will go for E2 or SN2. But here there is a clear distinction. If you take weak, if you have cases like this, tert butoxide or LDA, okay, LDA is this N minus lithium plus, okay, diisopropyl amide, okay. So in case if we take butoxides, right, tert butoxides or LDA, they are very crowded bases, got it? Which means if the crowding increases, this nucleophilicity will be poor. This is irrespective of solvent, whether you take it in polar protic solvent, polar aprotic solvent. In all of these cases, they will always act like strong bases and weak nucleophiles. Lastly, we will see a lot of more nucleophilic character than basic character in this. Cn minus, N3 minus, I minus, Rs minus, ACO minus. They will always go for substitution reactions rather than that of elimination reactions. Okay. Now, if the crowding is, you might say, sir, if the crowding is very high, what if there is a tertiary? If it is tertiary, they might go for SN1, but not E2. Okay, so usually they do not go for E2 mechanism. They would usually go for substitution reactions only. So this list, you can just review once again. Please write it down. In which cases we will think for E2. Okay, this is E2 major, right? This is E2 major. This is SN2 major. The first case decided on temperature and stability. That is what we will do right now. Okay. So in the first case, how we need to check? It's clear cut that if the temperature is increased, if the temperature increases, then E2 is favored over SN2. This you have studied, earlier also. Eliminations are always favored at high temperature because they are endothermic in nature. Those reactions are endothermic. SN2 on the other hand are exothermic, so they are not favored at high temperature. Next, if it has to favor SN2, then if you have primary groups, that will be more favored for SN2. If the order is tertiary, that means if you take tertiary alkyl halides, then it would favor E2. This is what happens in the first case. Got it? So here it could be SN2 or E2 depending upon these factors, whether you are operating at high temperature or low temperature, or if it is primary or tertiary. Okay, I hope all of you made a note of that. Now let us do few typical examples where we will come across SN2 and E2 as different major products. Okay, let me start with this first one. You can see this is a second degree, this is a 2-degree alkyl halide. So if this 2-degree alkyl halide, if it is being treated with the acetate ion, and we just checked it out, acetate always favors SN2. So you can see it is favoring SN2 here. So major product will always be SN2. And experimentally, it has been observed that this product O C double bond O CH3, this ester formation is 99%, which itself shows that it is highly favoring SN2. Okay. But if it was an alkoxide, you can check out, this is ETO minus. If it was an ETO minus, see, as long as temperature is not mentioned, that means it is at room temperature. Okay. If the temperature is above room temperature, usually that will be mentioned. Now, here it has been found that it is OET, okay, plus an eliminated E2 product, elimination E2 product as this. This was found to be 21% and this is found to be 79%. So this is E2 and SN2. So you can see the minute it becomes second degree, okay, E2 has started becoming major product. By the time it becomes third degree, you will hardly see any SN2. Everything would be of E2 product. Okay, even though we are operating at room temperature, that is an important point you need to check. Okay, even though temperature is not very high, because this ETO minus, this comes from this list, right? Because it can act like a strong nucleophile as well as strong base. So it is giving elimination as the major product. I think all of you understood that. Please make a note of that question. Right. So let's say if the position is changed. So here it is a 1-degree alkyl halide. Here it is a second degree alkyl halide. Now how much change that it will come? Okay. Now it has been found that in this case, it has been found that OET, which is a substituted product, SN2 product, and this is an elimination product. Out of these two, this has been found to be major. Again, I don't precisely remember the amount, but SN2 has been major, E2 has been minor in this case. If it is a second degree, we just learned that in second degree, we just learned that OET plus elimination will happen, and this is the major product. This is due to E2 and this is due to SN2. So from second degree onwards, if you take, strong bases, it will always favor E2 mechanism, and that gets to the major product. Note that. And by the time you reach tertiary, you can see by the time you reach tertiary, you'll hardly have any substitution. So the product which you'll favor here is this one, which is the alkene here, which is E2 product, and this was found to be 91%, while the substitution product is around 9%. Now it says, sir, but there is no SN2 happening. Yes, you're right, SN2 is not happening, but it is favored by SN1. Okay, here it happens due to SN1. All of you got that? So first two factors what we saw, one is by changing the substrate, position of the substrate. Second, by nucleophile. Third, we'll see temperature. If temperature is changing, how does it change? If we have tertiary alkyl halide, and if it use strong base like ETO minus, then definitely elimination is to be the major product, and we just learned from above that it will come around 91% favored by E2 mechanism. And if the temperature is provided, it will still be the same alkene, but this time it is 100% E2. Okay. So temperature, on increasing temperature, always E2 is more favored. Same logic we can apply for the next question here. You can see, in case if the temperature is increased here, even in the primary position, because it is primary position, we are expecting SN2 to be major. But as the temperature is increased, now E2 will become major. This will be the major product. SN2 is not the major product anymore if temperature is provided. So be careful in these cases. If you have primary alkyl halide, still it can go for E2 being major product. All of you made a note. Okay. Next, see the bulkiness here. So next, if we check out bulkiness of the base, see here we are taking tert butoxide. Tert butoxide is a very bulky base, and we know that bulky base, even if it is a primary position, it will always going to favor elimination product as a major product. So we are expecting that OBU, right? Tert OBU here, tert OBU, but this is by SN2 mechanism, but that will hardly be found, and E2 will be the major product. I don't remember the exact percentage, but yes, E2 is still the major product in this case. Last case, problem is here there is no beta carbon. For elimination, we need to have beta carbon, correct? Since there is no beta carbon, there is no other way but to go for substitution only. So in that case, it will go for substitution. So this is only SN2 product, SN2 product only.
Sir, these are all solvolysis only.
What
Say,
beta?
these all reactions we have TBU.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Finished. Right. I hope all of you made a note. Let us go through this. What are the typical reactions of SN2? Okay, and these are all the applications which we are seeing right now. Correct. Now these are all the examples in alkyl halide and alcohol chapter. So let us go one by one. First is Williamson ether synthesis. How ethers are being prepared, right? And it is one of the important application of SN2. See what is happening. RO minus is a uh, sorry. RO minus is a strong nucleophile. Strong nucleophile attacks on this R and removes this X. Then I can say this is a strong nucleophile, and if this reaction has to go for SN2, there will be certain conditions of this R, right? Because SN2 cannot happen on every different R. If it is possibly tertiary, then it won't happen. So what are the conditions we have learned? Let me just tell you. The X has to be either chlorine, bromine or iodine, and definitely not fluorine. Okay, so this cannot be fluorine. Next, when it comes to R has to be either 1 degree, maximum up to 2 degrees. It should be either allyl or benzyl. This is an important condition. And it cannot be 3 degree, it cannot be vinyl, it cannot be phenyl, right? So this can't be there. So only it has to be any of these two conditions, then only SN2 would happen. Correct. So this type of an alkyl halide where this Williamson ether synthesis are happening, they are called SN2 ready, which means this RX is SN2 ready. It is going for SN2 reaction. So when the SN2 reaction happens, X minus will leave. Got it? And since the solvent we are using is dry ether, so there is no water here, only we are using ether. The X minus which has left here will have strong affinity with Na plus and it will get precipitated. Why? Because NaX is very less soluble. Here NaX is chlorine, bromine or iodine. Okay. So in fact iodine is still little bit soluble, but NaCl and NaBr are very less soluble in aprotic solvents. Alright. So that's how the reaction proceeds to form ethers. I hope you understood a basic idea about Williamson synthesis now. Okay. Now our first objective is to prepare this type of a nucleophile. Where do we prepare this type of nucleophiles? You see that, first make a note of it. Everyone write Williamson ether synthesis and explain what is SN2 ready. There was once a question asked, what is SN2 ready? SN2 ready means X has to be this and R has to be this kind of a group. Right, check this. Now to prepare that alkoxide, see, to prepare this kind of an alkoxide, what we can see, we take first alcohol and react with this species and see which of them will give alkoxide. Again, this is a revision for you. The typical pKa value for alcohols is around 16 to 18. In fact, some cases it is up to going up to 20, but generally 16 to 18. Suppose if ROH reacts with NaHCO3 and you are expecting that it should form RO minus plus H2CO3. Here H2CO3, you know that pK value is around 6.5. So obviously it is becoming more acidic. So this reaction won't take place. Okay. Same way if you are expecting RO minus to form and this would form NaHCO3 bicarbonate. The pKa of bicarbonate is around 12. So that is also not going to happen. Okay. So which means the pKa of the product which is forming must be greater than that of the alcohol. Then only the reaction will proceed forward. Here also we are expecting to form RO minus plus H2O. The pKa value of H2O is 15.7. So even this will not happen. With sodium, if ROH is reacted directly with sodium, then it will form RO minus and half H2. And the pK value of H2 is around 38. So yes, this reaction will definitely take place and RO minus will be formed. NH2 minus, we'll see it will form RO minus and this will also form NH3 and pK value is also around 38. This reaction will also take place. NaH, H as in H minus here, Na plus and H minus. So it will also form typically RO minus plus H2. So reaction will take place here because it is forming H2 here. So these are the three cases in which you can prepare alkoxides. So react alcohol with sodium NH2 minus or NaH. Typically this is how the reaction starts, like A alcohol with some reagent giving some B. From there it will start continuing towards Williamson synthesis. Okay. So this is how we will prepare alkoxides. Now from the alkoxides, once it is reaction is being done, now you can see in this following what kind of a product it is forming. Okay. So start writing this. First write this, in which case alkoxides are forming, show that. Finished, guys? Right, check this. If we are expecting that this alkoxide should attack here and Cl minus will leave, is it SN2 ready? Right, it is not SN2 ready because it is a phenylic group. So does the reaction take place? No. So there won't be any reaction at the phenylic position. So in the first set, check it out, there is no reaction happening. Make a note of that. See the second reaction. Yes, this is SN2 ready because it is primary position. All the features what we are expecting are matching, and it is chlorine, not fluorine. So typically when the attack happens on this carbon, chlorine will leave by SN2 mechanism and the product is formed this way. So OET. Okay, and product formed here would be NaCl. All of these reactions are only in dry ether, DE as in dry ether. So all of you have made a note. Yeah. If you got that, start doing the next one. Okay. I'm giving you 2 minutes of time. Just check out the products and check out the reactants and start marking the products. Mention if it is SN2 ready, and if it is SN2 ready, then what will be the product. All of you understood the C one? Check out the D one. I think now you should be able to do it fast. Here the substrate, this substrate is also SN2 ready, but not at this position. It is SN2 ready at this position. Although bromine is a better leaving group than chlorine, unfortunately that bromine is attached to the vinylic carbon. So reaction won't take place there. Reaction will take place only at that chlorine position. So the product would be, bromine will stay where it is, and here you will have OET. That will be the product. Right, next see the E case. See, bromine is out of the plane, coming out of the plane, so it will attack from the back side of the plane and Br will be removed. And you know that inversion will take place in the case of SN2. So we will have product like this, OET. This will be the product which is formed. I guess all of you understood that. Next, first let me write what is the configuration here. By priority is 1, then 2, then it is 3, and then 4. Okay. So if you check out how it is rotating, it is 1, 2, 3. So it is actually anti-clockwise rotation. Right? So since it is anti-clockwise rotation, it has to be S configured. So initially it is S configured. But we are connecting from oxygen end, so we are not breaking this bond at all. This bond is not broken. So this configuration of carbon will be intact. That is not going to change. Okay, so remember, If your alkoxide has a configured carbon, right, a chiral center, its configuration is not going to change. So only O minus will attack from here, Br minus will leave from here, and typically we will have a product like this: Me, H, D, and O, CH3. And configuration is retained. If it was S, it will be S. So just make a note: nucleophile configuration doesn't change. See the next one here. Firstly, is it SN2 ready? This substrate is SN2 ready or not? This is only at the primary position. This is 1 degree carbon, but fortunately it is chiral center also. And if typically if I write their priorities, it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it is also moving. This is also moving in anti-clockwise direction. So it is also S configured. Now if this methoxide ion will attack here, leaving the bromine group, right? So what is the product we can get? This time the configuration has to change because you are breaking the bond between that carbon and bromine. So methyl will come this side, H will be here, D will be here, and CH3O will be connected here. So now the configuration would become R. All of you understood that? See the next one. Okay, these are last two questions. We'll finish and we'll take a break. So you can see, is it SN2 ready? Yes, it is SN2 ready because it is at the primary position. So this O minus will attack here, removing this Br minus. So typically we would have this, and configuration of this nucleophile doesn't change. So it will only be OET, and this methyl will be the same. So that will be the product.
Sir, is the nucleophile not very much bulky?
What beta?
The nucleophile is bulky.
Right. Nucleophile is bulky here. We can definitely expect the E2 product also, but I'm only showcasing the Williamson synthesis. Williamson synthesis is only about ethers. So it may happen that this might be a minor product.
Okay.
Yeah. Next. So as of now, just focus on the SN2 products. Got it. Typically, if the question is asked like how many products are forming, which is major product, then we can discuss that. Right. Check this last one. Is this SN2 ready? Yes, this is also SN2 ready. It may, because here you can see it is 2 degrees, so the product yield would be very less. It would rather go more for E2 only. But what about the ether formation which you will get? How does the configuration would be? That is important for us. So here typically nucleophile configuration does not change. It will be O, CH with CH3 and CH3 here. And this group will be the way it is. It won't change. This will be the case. Yes, you understood that. So I hope all of you understood that, everyone. Yeah. Anybody has a doubts? Okay. Today evening session, I think first Janardhan sir will take and then I will take. Okay. So sir want to take 3 hours on a stretch. So after his session is finished, then I will take the session. And I might need some more time, maybe around 40 minutes. I will first take a lecture and then I will discuss all the doubts. Because as per my plan, I was supposed to finish, these reactions also. So up to Finkelstein reaction as well. So it will take another 30-40 minutes. So in the evening, I will take 30-40 minutes and then we can discuss the doubts from the sheet 1. Now you guys can solve sheet one. I mean day one sheet completely. There are 37 questions. Finish them. If anybody has finished those questions, please buzz me around. I'll give you the second assignment on the same thing. Okay. Right. So I'll end the session. Anybody has a doubts can get back to me in the evening. Okay, guys.